Greetings. It's often said that only one of the commandments promises anything good to the obedient believer. Nonsense. That commandment about honoring parents does make a promise. Go take a look at this. But this commandment, the fourth, also has quite a great gift for us. Or perhaps I should write a great set of gifts for us, to those willing to take it seriously. This is the Practicing Christian, Commandment 4. A note here: no one gains eternal life in God's kingdom by obeying the Ten Commandments. That comes only by trusting Him, by faith. But if you trust Him, then following these commandments gives you a superior life in this world. We hear few people gripe about commandments against murder or adultery. They just go and practice those things and then say stupid things afterwards if caught out. But the commandment about the Sabbath, Hebrew word is Shabbat, annoys people from the outset. Why can't we just let me do what I want to do? Sadly, most folks who begin to learn about the Sabbath listen to people who never got into it in a healthy way. Let's do a fresh start. The Sabbath, and this part of it is enshrined in United States law, says that no one can force a man or woman to work 7 days a week. They have to be given a day off for godly purposes. Now, how many of you work in a job that leaves no downtime and no time to study or to advance yourself in your work? So the Sabbath is a gift that allows your work to be done better than if your job allowed you no time to advance yourself in it. Similarly, how good a husband or father is a man if he has no full day to spend, ever, with his wife or children? God understands the wisdom of providing us with a week of both labor and rest. The picture of Sabbath life has a sense of the presence of God. Now that's the worship part of it, which, by the way, includes the gift of seeing and being with your fellow Christians. You are not invisible to them and won't be forgotten by them. Not if worship is part of your life. Likewise, they are in your mind and heart as well. But no Sabbath, no connection with them, nor they with you. This picture of Sabbath life is also alien to the moralistic Christians of the past who had lists of forbidden activities on the Sabbath. Couldn't do crossword puzzles, couldn't play ball, etc., etc. The real picture of the Sabbath is a foretaste of what life will be like in His resurrection kingdom, which is to come soon, but which is already something we can sense and enjoy as we become His people. Many Christians have adopted the Jewish way of determining time with respect to the Sabbath. For Jews, the day ends not at midnight, but at sundown. And just as midnight ending of the day is followed by the dark part of a new one beginning at 12:01 in the morning, it's not the new day beginning with a pleasant evening, just as the sun has set. That pleasant evening begins the new day, and that day lasts until the next sundown, and longer if you wish. A Sabbath that begins with preparing for a nice evening and which ends with another pleasant evening, leading you into the new day slowly, has more to commend it than the one which begins with you not even noticing it at midnight, and which ends again at midnight, with you already asleep with a focus only on the next morning's work. Now, sundown to sundown, Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, that's the best time for a good Sabbath. The purpose of the Sabbath is not primarily for worship. In many ways, it's a day to give relief to those who work and labor for you. It's a day of gladness, not of gloom. Sometime in the 3rd century A.D., it became common for Christians who observed Saturday as the Sabbath and Sunday as a day for worship to blend these together into one day, Sunday. But it wasn't until the early 1600s in New England that this folding of the two special days into one became a standard procedure. One day for two sorts of celebration. That puts pressure on us all. So it's a good idea to use a good portion of the biblical Sabbath, that's Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, as our day of rest and renewal. Sunday can still be for worship, and perhaps a bit more rest and renewal. Remember, Jesus said the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So it's ours to use to our benefit and to the glory of God. Our world's common practice of indifference to both renewal and to worship becomes clear with each generation of halfway Christians. Here's another way to view this. In the Genesis story of creation, what did God do on the seventh day? He rested. So his own renewal and deep focus